Urban Therapy with Sun752, and this is your daily Gogetemism number 106 for January 19, 2015. It's my baby's birthday today. Happy birthday, Ayana, turning 9 years old today. And because it's my baby's birthday today, it had me thinking about some things today, because today is MLK Day. And being as though it's MLK Day, we are commemorating the slain civil rights leader who galvanized a whole nation at a time when it seems like we were much more aware of the forces of racism that were against us. And it seems as though nowadays we don't really understand that at all. I'm going to do this daily Gogetemism. I'm sending this out to all of the people who were teenagers in the 1980s, because that's my generation right there. So if you were a teenager at any part of the 1980s, from 1980 to 1990, this is going out to you. And the reason that it's going out to you is because I feel like we failed our generation that is growing right now. You know, on MLK Day, we understand that in the 50s and the 60s and way beyond before that, racism was such a strong force against black people in this country that it united us on many fronts. But one thing I don't think we understand about that era is, just like now, when we see blatant outright incidents such as what happened in Missouri, what happened in New York, well, what continues to happen in New York, and what happens in a lot of places where there's white on black crime perpetrated by law enforcement. Those aren't even the biggest parts of racism. Those aren't the things that are necessarily keeping us down. Those are the things that are putting the media and enlighten us and bring awareness to the situation that still exists in this country. This is the United States. And there's too many people out here that believe that racism is something that used to happen back in the day. And anybody who was a teenager in the 1980s should know better than to think that way at all. But because we learned what we learned in the 1980s, when there was still racism outright, there was a lot of segregation. There was segregation in music. You know, I put out a post last week about white music and black music. That was the kind of thing that used to happen back in the day. There was a such thing as black music. There was a such thing as white music. There was a set of things. There were cultural differences between black people and white people that still exist, but we don't look at them like that's the way they are now. And the question that I have to people is, what changed it? When you really think about it, what has really changed? Do you think that racist people just automatically stop being racist? Like, what did they do? What did they do? Find God? Is this one of the things that Jesus has fixed? You know, I mean, you know, I'm knocking anybody's religion. I would never do that. But if Jesus wasn't fixing it at the beginning of the 1900s, all the way up to 1970, when we were being hung from trees and having our genitals cut off and having all of those terroristic threats being perpetrated against us by the Ku Klux Klan and other racist people who weren't afraid to cover their faces and be seen. If he didn't fix it then, what happened now to make us think that it's not like that anymore? If anything, it has gone underground. But are we teaching our children that? Have we done an effective job at teaching our children that racism still exists out there, and we have to be careful about the company that we keep and the people that we trust and those who we let in our circle and the things that we do, our code of conduct, the way we act, the way we speak, the things that we should know? You know, many of today's generation don't even know who Martin Luther King is. That's not gonna get it. That's not gonna get it. We can't. In the 60s, in the 50s and 60s, because the civil rights movement actually got started in the 50s. in the 50s and 60s, when we were waging, well, we were protesting and successfully protesting against things like we had the bus boycott. That was successful, but we didn't follow through. Even the March on Washington. The March on Washington wasn't organized by the civil rights protesters. The March on Washington was really, Lyndon B. Johnson had a lot to do with that. It is what it is. And that was a peaceful protest, but it sort of let a lot of people off the hook. And here we are now. So on this MLK Day today, the only advice that I would like to give to the generation who were teenagers in the 80s, that means that you were born in the 70s or born in the 60s somewhere. I don't care if you were 19 in 1980, you still were a teenager in the 80s, and that means that you are of our generation. But we have a certain obligation to teach the next generation what we learned. And I'm not sure if we've done an effective job at that. We got to do better. We got to do better than that. It shouldn't take incidents like what happened in Missouri. That's not going to get it. That's not going to get it. It shouldn't take for for racist police officers to kill one of us in order for us to unite. And it's not that black people aren't united in any other way. That's one of the things we have to stop saying about each other. Black people don't stick together. Yes, we do. We do stick together in some ways. Sometimes those ways aren't ways that get us places, but we do know how to unite. We just have to remember to follow through, and that's what we have to teach our babies. Got to let them know. Just because we can go on Maury and do the baby daddy dance with our white girlfriends and all of that, looking like everything that they say about us negatively, about us not being decent fathers or being absentee fathers. I'm not doing this daily Gogetemism today to try to demonize anybody. I'm not telling you who to like or necessarily who to trust. But if it makes you comfortable to be held down and to be criticized unjustifiably by somebody who has created a negative situation for you and are blaming you for it and getting you to blame yourselves for it, I don't know what else to tell you. But we can't have the next generation thinking that it's going to be sweet like that, because I don't know what's going to be in store for them. Come on, man. We got our young people out here tattooing their faces. I don't know what you can do on a professional level with your appearance being that way. I don't know. I'm not saying that you won't ever be anything, because with us being in this computer generation, you could develop an app or something like that and make millions. That's the way it goes. But you're going to have to learn how to do something, and in order to be the king of the game, you got to be able to play the game. And if you don't get a chance to even get a chance to be in the game, if you don't get picked, it's going to be real hard for you to win. It's just my little rant for the day, man. I'm feeling it. It's MLK Day today, and this is my contribution. This is my daily Gogetemism. This is the daily Gogetemism for the day. You know what I'm saying? She's black. She's black. So, look, remember, good things happen to those who wait. Great things happen to those who grind. And anything can happen to those who go for theirs. So go hard, go for yours, and go teach your kids what you learned back in the day when you had to struggle in order to make it out here. Because they are going to struggle to make it out here too. One last thing. What happened to the after-school job? You know what I'm saying? When I was growing up, all of my peers, not all of them, but most of them, had after-school jobs. These parents nowadays talking about they don't want their kids to work. What do you think they're going to do for the rest of their lives? I'm not saying that they have to do back-breaking work or they should choose to work over school, over their academics. But what's wrong with learning the responsibility of doing a good job and earning your money. The after school job. And you don't have to work for somebody else in order to create an after school job. You can create something. You can sell something. Candy. Water ice. Water ice is a Philadelphia thing for snow cones or whatever. You know what I'm saying? For those who don't know. You know. But things like that, you can set your child up with a business where they can make a couple of dollars. That entrepreneurship is heavy. And that's the skill that it's a lot better than these kids out here who are out here selling drugs, ensuring that they're never going to have a decent future. Teach the kids how to make some money. Teach them the value of money. Teach them that they're not fly because they're running around here in Gucci and Louis Vuitton and all of that, and Polo and Jordans on their feet. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, nice clothes, there's nothing wrong with nice clothes, but don't let your children think that those things validate them. They don't validate them. They're getting into trouble. You start placing value on external things. Those companies don't give back to the community. They don't do anything but take from you, and they don't even put you in their advertisements. They don't want you represented in their company, but they want your money, and you're going to give it to them. We've been giving it to them. We got to stop doing that. We have to stop doing that. It's not a good look. If anything, shoot, we need to bring back the days when people learn how to sew and make their own clothes. We need to get our own designers. You know what I mean? That's how I'm looking at it, man. Seriously. You know? Shoot, all these game systems and all this kind of stuff, we need to start making. We can make them. Shoot. Black people have been geniuses for years. We've always been the best at something because we had to be the best. Now we're settling for mediocrity, and that's unacceptable. We got to do better than that. My brothers and sisters who were teenagers in the 80s, go back and tell your babies how it was and make sure that they don't have to revisit that. We can't stop them from revisiting it by masking it like it never happened. And we got to remember that. We got to remember what happened too, because we run around here like we forgot. It's MLK Day today. Do what you know that you're supposed to do. I holler back at y'all, man. Sun 752 Urban Therapy with Sun. Daily Gogetemism, man. Holler back. Peace.